Hey guys, it's quote unquote your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary and response video. I came very close to not making this video, but because there's just so little response fodder in there. There is a little bit, not much, but there is a little bit. But I decided to go forward with it anyway because in this video, Kerrigan announces that she is not going to be appearing on the channel anymore. And that's really unfortunate because Kerrigan is, I mean, she's not anything super special or anything, but she's the only really redemptive feature on Casey's channel, and that she's at least kind of charismatic and likable. Now Cole's also, Cole's the most likable, but he's like so rarely on. I mean, he's pretty much never on, and when he is on, he's usually has to be there with Casey. So and I don't even know, for all I know, Cole's not even part of Headman or any whatever it is anymore. So no, that's unfortunate. It's the end of an era. I guess she's moving on to do something like actually meaningful with her life. Belated happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Mine was horrible. Worst Thanksgiving I've ever had. Just terrible experience all around. First of all, I didn't want to go in the first place because I I'm still recovering from this chest cold or whatever it is, and so I had to go down to the city for it because it was my sister-in-law's brother and his husband. He's gay, so he's and I had to go into the city to their place, which I didn't want to go anyway, but it would have been like this family drama if I hadn't shown up in this, although I definitely won't be going in the future, when I didn't want to because I was already sick. But then you get there, and like how places in the city are really small, so it's crowded in, and they invited 25 fucking people. No, they didn't invite that many, but that's how many people were there total if you count the two hosts. 25 people in this like tiny, like imagine like how small a downstairs of like one of those city houses are. Those houses that are like, they're kind of like townhouses. They're connected to other houses on both sides. And so 25 people. So, I may have gotten somebody else sick. And what I'm really worried about is that I got sick myself. And then because if somebody there had it, I almost certainly got it because we were packed like sardines in a can. And then because they're like, this guy and his husband are really nice guys, by the way. It's not but they're very rich. They're very wealthy. They're both super successful. And so people who like that, who live in the city and are very successful, that they can't just have normal food that people like. They have to make like this disgusting shit. And they did have turkey, and the turkey was pretty good. It wasn't great because no turkey is great. Turkey, the only time turkey's good is the next day when you're having a turkey salad. But the turkey was okay. But that was the only good thing they had. Because I hate mashed potatoes anyway. So they had mashed potatoes, which I don't eat because they're gross. They had that disgusting stuff you see on Thanksgiving. That stuff that's like got marshmallows mixed in, but it's not a dessert. It's like some regular food. And then a bunch of other shitty things that, nobody would really want to eat. The salad had like peanuts in it for some reason, and I'm not normally a salad guy, but I would have eaten it if they just had normal fucking salad. Then they served these like weird things that looked like, I don't know, like giant purple pears with rice in it. It's like, just serve normal food. Nobody wants to eat this shit. Then when it came to dessert, they didn't have pumpkin pie. They had apple pie, which is disgusting, so I didn't want that. Some weird pie that I couldn't even tell what the fuck it was. And so I think they had brownies, but I'm off chocolate. And the truth is, and then they didn't have salt for the turkey. How can you have turkey without salt? And then now they didn't have stuffing, or they did have stuffing, but they forgot to put it out. And then by then it was like so crowded in there. I wasn't that hungry anyway because I'd already eaten all the turkey. I didn't feel like navigating around it. So for me, it ended up working out because stuffing would actually be against my diet because it's white refined flour. And, I certainly haven't been super disciplined. I mean, I haven't started eating sweets or anything, but I have had plenty of white flour the last few days. and I'm better off not having it. So, for that, in that sense, it actually kind of worked out for me. So then I just came home and had some, apple slices with cheese. And so now I can get, back onto the, no refined grains, no gluten, no sweeteners. And I can get back to that and, just continue to hopefully, lose weight and help with this depression. Although, like I said, the depression's been a lot better. It's really just been that I've been sick for the last couple weeks. But anyway, you guys don't care about any of that. Just need to get it off my chest. So anyway, Kerrigan's giving her last speech, and let's see what she has to say. Oops.
Hey guys. Okay, so I just drove all the way back from school to come do this last video for Casey. This will probably be the last time that you're going to see me on his channel.
No! Kerrigan, don't leave us. No, Kerrigan, you are the only good thing on this channel. Don't go.
And this video is going to be a big news flash, so buckle up.
You boys are in for a treat.
Nope. I know we're not, Casey. No, we're not. Because you've never made any decent content before. You've never had any decent content on your channel before. This isn't going to be the exception. So simply with history as a prediction of future results, like I'm positive that there's not going to be any treat in here. Okay? I'm positive. And if you're watching and hoping for some kind of treat, just stop watching. Because I've watched more Casey videos than you have. Nothing good's going to come here. Nothing good. Okay? Nothing good.
And also make sure you stay till the end because Casey has a really big gift and a huge surprise for Black Friday this year, so wait till the end to hear about it. Okay, so today I want to talk about how modern men are poisoning their minds. The main reason that the dating world is so messed up nowadays is because of social media and all these guys falling into traps. And I'm sure you've heard that a million times, but I just want to talk about how there are millions of men falling into the same trap over and over again. And if this reaches anyone, that'll be great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. I want to start off by saying, if you men think that you're going to find a genuine, real connection with a woman while you're watching, buying OnlyFans, and following the next Insta model just to get that nice hit of dopamine by seeing a hot woman, you will be single the rest of your life.
Well, first of all, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that. I don't I'm with her with the discouraging or encouraging men to avoid those things that she mentioned. I agree with that. Now we can debate why in a different time. We can discuss why differently, but I agree with her there. I disagree that you using or consuming that kind of content, it means you're going to be single. I really strongly disagree with it because today, contrary to what most black pillars tell you, most guys do find relationships. And this is true worldwide. And most guys worldwide are consuming that kind of content. So, I mean, would you be better off without it? Yes. Can it make having a good relationship harder? Absolutely. Is it going to doom you to singledom? No, this is like, kind of like when they try to, they go too far, like telling kids to say no to drugs, and they tell them, like, if you smoke weed once, you'll die. And, like, their heart's in the right place because you don't want kids to even start using drugs. But, she's kind of, exaggerating the danger here. But another thing is, I kind of have to wonder, I don't, coming from a black pill background, I think a lot of people would be dismissive of this. And to be fair, I've never heard of this being an issue in the United States or in the West, but I have heard it being in Japan. Like the guys who were like, they go and they have relationships with anime characters or body pillows and stuff like that. And I think I might have even told this story before. It's an interview with this guy, this Japanese guy who's, married his body pillow or whatever. And the interviewer says, do you worry that this kind of fantasy you're living makes it more difficult for you to find a relationship with a real woman? And he said, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want a real woman. I'd prefer the body pillow fantasy. And I don't know if there's not more guys, getting there or not. If more guys are in that situation in the West these days, I don't know. I mean, obviously that would be a problem too, but it's a different problem.
You will never find anyone, and you are going to be alone.
And to be honest, she's 100% correct too, because
No, I don't think so. And also, you didn't need to say to be honest.
these dirty websites keep you stuck and in a fake fantasy land, and what it's going to do is it makes you socially awkward, and then on top of that, you're going to be stripped from the things that make you attractive or masculine.
No, 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 no. Going again. There's very serious. I think it's been demonstrated pretty clearly. Psychological problems that can come from looking at this type of stuff. Like lewd stuff. I don't know anything. I don't even like to say porn because it doesn't necessarily have to be porn. Anything explicit, any type of things like that. There's those things can be damaging to your mind. Certainly can potentially be damaging to any potential relationship, or if you're in a relationship, they can be damaging. They won't necessarily be fatal or damaging, but they can be. And the same thing, is it necessarily going to just destroy your mind? No. Is drinking soda every day necessarily going to destroy your health? No, but it is going to have negative health effects. It might not be noticeable for you, but you will have it. And it's the same thing with these things. It's just like soda might affect soda's going to affect people's bodies differently. This kind of content is going to affect people's minds differently. Is it going to... So on the extreme end, I can't see how it would make you socially awkward. I suppose it's possible. I really doubt it. And strip you of the things that make you attractive. I've never seen it or even heard of that happening. I suppose it's theoretically possible in very extreme circumstances. But while I agree with that you should avoid this kind of content, I disagree that the reasons Kerrigan and Casey are giving for it are true.
Until men step out of this fake world of fake Photoshop people online and actually take initiative to go meet a real woman and make a genuine connection, you will be alone. You will always be too scared, too unmotivated, and too weak.
I disagree that it would make you be too scared. I disagree that would have an impact one way or the other, at least not directly. Unmotivated is, I think that is a potential serious problem. For me, okay, I can say something that, like, I think this is different than most guys, but me, as I've gotten older, my standards have gotten higher, because it's like, even like the most attractive girl I see, like, it's like, yeah, I mean, okay, she's attractive or whatever, but without being too graphic, I could jerk off to a girl 100 times hotter. And, so it's like so I do think that there is maybe a potential for loss of motivation. I don't think it's where my loss of motivation comes from. I really don't. I think it's just I kind of grew out of it. And because, like I said, like, what you're talking about, a connection. Well, at some stage, if I've never wanted a connection. So if you don't want a connection, just, sex in and of itself kind of gets old. Like, you kind of lose interest in it. I don't know if lose interest is the right word, but it's not something that, like, you're going to really be motivated to go out and get. Again, like I said, if you can just jerk off to a girl who is a billion times hotter, and B, who there's no pressure to perform. You don't have to worry about getting some girl online off, like, there's no sense of responsibility like in the real. Plus, there's just, you also have people like me who just hate to be touched, so I'm probably not a good not a good example. But I think she does have a point there, and I think she said, and as for it making you weak, not directly. I disagree that it directly would do that. Although I think, yeah, not directly, but maybe a little bit indirectly. But again, it's kind of a different conversation.
To obtain a real relationship, or just to obtain an actual person, a real woman. So the first thing I want to talk about is, which is a touchy subject because it is so normalized nowadays. But you have,
Yeah, it's true. I mean, way more than when I was a kid. Although, like, by the time I was in high school is really when, like, you started to see it kind of like be not everywhere, because it was still something that you like weren't supposed to look like before I was in high school. Like, the thing was, like, if you wanted to look at that stuff and you were under 18, it could be hard to find it. Like, I mean, unless you could steal it from an older relative or something, if they had access to it. It was only in specialty magazines. And the stuff that was there, the explicit stuff that was like Playboy or like Playboy magazine, or even something like Penthouse or Hustler, which was more on the extreme end, those things were like nothing compared to, what's out there today. And you didn't have like kids becoming full-blown deviants by the time they were 12. That definitely wasn't the case. And no, I do think it's been psychologically damaging. I don't know if it's been as damaging as just social media, or just the internet in general, but I do think it's been damaging.
officially trained your mind to think that all you need is a computer in your hand to be happy. And that takes
It's all I needed for like 35 years, and then one day it wasn't enough anymore. The So I mean, I think she's I don't know. I really don't know. Because for me, for a long time, until I was 35 or 36, that was like all I needed to be happy was to be able to eat junk food, to watch some TV shows that I liked, the few TV shows that I liked, and to be able to read stuff on the internet, and maybe watch some YouTube videos. Although I've generally historically preferred to read. Maybe supplement it with some video games, and although I've never been a huge video game guy. And to me, that was enough for a long, long, long time. And I think there probably are guys who, I mean, I don't know. I think so for a lot of people, I'm not so sure that isn't enough, or at least for now, it's not enough. And then like I said, then maybe you get to a point where one day it's not enough anymore. Especially if you're somebody who does want a romantic connection and wants a family. Then yeah, I think it could be problems in that it saps motivation. But even then, you have to keep in mind that, and I'm not discouraging anybody from, getting married, from finding a connection and having a family, especially if you're somebody who needs those things to be happy. What I am saying, though, is that if you're someone who does need those things to be happy, not having them will make you unhappy, but having them won't necessarily make you happy. I hope it does, and maybe it will, but not necessarily. And, what does make you happy? I don't even know, man. I wish I did. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you be. I don't know what you do to be happy. When I was younger, I thought I did, and now I don't know.
takes away absolute all desire to take initiative to go out and meet a real woman. Everything nowadays is about instant dopamine hits. It's about how can I feel better about myself or feel happier. And everyone knows that once they do that, watch porn, they usually don't feel better afterwards. And if you do, it's because your brain has created a habit. And you're stuck in a vicious cycle of getting all of your attention.
Well, I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen the movie or possibly read the book of Trainspotting, and about these guys, young Scottish guys who are heroin addicts, and The guy is the main guy, the narrator. I saw it like a very long time ago, and is talking about it. And he said, like, when you hear about heroin addicts, you hear about the misery and the just the conditions they live in, the poverty, because they're just like they basically live in flop houses. There's rats all around. They're malnourished because they spend all their money to get heroin. You hear about all that. What you don't hear about is the pleasure. It's like heroin, the like just like how good it feels to have heroin. There's nothing that compares to it. He said, if it didn't feel this good, we wouldn't do it. And I'm certainly not suggesting you go and use heroin. In fact, I've looked into it, and apparently not because I was considering using it, but just to research more about it. And that's not the experience of every heroin addict. That's just that particular character's feeling about it. But but I can, like, in my own life, relate it to my sugar addiction, sugar in general, chocolate in particular. And yeah, there were times that, I mean, I'm off now, but there were times that, yeah, I did want to get off. But there were just times. And like, for me, chasing the high, of lack of a better word, of a sugar binge, when it was over, I didn't feel bad about myself, or anything. I mean, I didn't like being fat, or anything. But no, when I had a sugar binge, I never felt bad about myself afterwards. I felt satisfied, maybe even a little relieved, just because, you're not denying it anymore. Now, there were a lot of bad things that went with it too. Pretty much I don't know if I want to say constant, but very frequent nausea. And then obviously the reason I had to give it up was because of the depression. I didn't realize that it was actually making the depression worse. I like I've said before, I don't think it was causing the depression, but I do think it was making the depressive symptoms worse. And I know that other people who don't even have depression, who have like consumed very high amounts of sugar, are prone to like mood swings and stuff, or uneven mood and anxiety and stuff. So I don't know if she's right that about it, because I mean, the reason I'm bringing this up is because porn, fapping, whatever you want to call it, that's just another form of addiction. They're all the same. All addictions have the same mechanisms. Not physically. They don't all have the same physical mechanism, but psychologically they do. The neural pathways and stuff. And so I don't know if what she's saying is necessary. I mean, I don't think she's right that it's necessarily going to make you feel worse about yourself. I've certainly never noticed that. But I will say that having, I don't know. I don't know if I want to say I've recovered from my sugar addiction, or if I'm like a recovering sugar addict, because I think I'm going to be a sugar and chocolate addict for the rest of my life, and I've just accepted that. But like when I got past the first 2 or 3 weeks, and like the really hardcore cravings went away, it really allowed me to like step back for the first time and look at my addiction objectively. Because even though I kind of knew I was an addict and wouldn't have even disputed it like before, I would have just said it's like, well, I'm not really an addict. I just really like chocolate. And it was only when like the physical addiction, like the psychological addiction is going to be there for the rest of my life, but the physical addiction is gone. And it was when the physical addiction was gone that, and it kind of, that I was able to kind of see like it as kind of a neurological thing, you know, the like a neurological element of the addiction. And it caused me to understand my addiction in a way that I never could have understood it while I was still consuming chocolate. And I couldn't tell you if fapping or porn is the same thing, does the same thing. But I wouldn't be surprised. So maybe it's like you should be feeling worse if you're looking at porn and fapping, but I don't know that that's the experience of most people. So I don't know. Maybe she's completely right. I don't know.
Attention from a fake person. It has become the downfall of today's society. Men have addiction, and even if it's not
No, it's not the downfall. It's a symptom of society's rot. And I think it's a really important distinction to make. You know, porn isn't destroying, for the most part. I mean, porn isn't destroying society, and for the most part, porn isn't destroying young men. It's a symptom of the rotting of our society. And it's a symptom of young men's total self-destructive behavior. And I do think it's an important distinction, not just for intellectual reasons to understand it, but also for like purposes of giving advice. I don't know, you don't want to be telling young men porn is what's destroying you. Stop looking at porn, and that's going to solve your problems or put you on the path to solving the problems. No, it's your porn addiction is a symptom of something larger that's wrong. And I think that's important to make note of.
not addiction. They want to watch it daily, or they just know it's always accessible.
Well, then if the first one, if you want to watch it daily, that's an addiction, you know.
So if your mind is constantly thinking, well, I always have something there, then they have no reason to go out and meet a real person because they have something on the side.
No, I disagree. I disagree. I think that if you're somebody who does want a connection, that there's really not, that it's a completely different need. That if you're the porn and the fapping or whatever are something that, you know, is for physical release, and or maybe like maybe it is like an addiction, dopamine, whatever. But the connection is a less of a physical and more of a spiritual need. And I really don't think that one affects the other. I really don't. So I don't think that somebody's going to say, oh, well, now I don't, you know, now I don't think anybody's trying to go get a relationship just so they can have low effort sex. I think that's seen as a benefit of relationships. I don't believe that's the reason that the overwhelming majority of people want for a relationship. If it was just about the low effort sex, most guys are going to prefer jerking off and prostitution, or in escort maxing. Let's say they don't want to prostitute themselves. So I think she's wrong on this. Which isn't to say that there aren't problems again with it, but I think she's, you know, misdiagnosing or overstating the problem.
You need to start training your brain to stop thinking that you have something like that. Because if you completely cut it out of your life, you have nothing to lean on. You have nothing to...
Yeah, I disagree. I mean, I really don't think people are using porn as a crutch to lean on. I mean, I think maybe they're using it as an escape, but that's about it. I don't think they're using it as like a backup, like, well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out for this girl because I still have porn. I really disagree with this. Like, I really disagree with it a lot.
To depend on. You can actually go out and force yourself to make real connections with people.
So she's basically saying here, she's going to say, you give up porn, so you're going to be so sexually frustrated that you will just go out and relentlessly pursue a connection until you can, just because you need sexual release. That this is not a healthy attitude, and it's not realistic.
Instead of just getting it through a screen. It simply makes no sense. It is so messed up when you actually think about it in real time, because years ago, even what I'm doing right now, this wasn't a thing years ago today. I'm glad it is because I can reach people that this has affected. But overall, you need to cut that out of your life so you can actually go out and find the confidence in yourself to meet real women. Next, I just want to say that you should start following people online that give you drive, that give you desire, that like things that you like, that give you passion to go after things that you want. You shouldn't follow people that give you your next dopamine hit and scroll past half-naked women. You should follow people that you.
Well, I mean, she's talking about two separate things here. So she's saying, okay, don't look at, lewd stuff. Okay, I mean, I agree in principle. Do as I say, not as I do. And then she's saying you should follow people who make you passionate about stuff. In my experience, people who do that stuff, and even me, when looking at I mean, I don't use I just look on Twitter for news, and occasionally I'll respond to something, but so I'm not really a big social media guy. I don't even I mean, I do have an Instagram, but I not with pictures on it, but just to see other people's pictures. But I haven't been on Instagram in forever. I don't like it, and so I'm not really a social media. So when she talks about following people, the only people I follow are some YouTubers. I might watch their videos. But for me, I'm if I'm watching their videos or reading articles or whatever, it's never it's because I'm interested in whatever they're saying or they're talking about. But if it was something I'm going to talk about my experience. Let's say that you've got a real interest in rock climbing or something. So you start following a bunch of rock climbers. Yes, that might motivate you to go out and rock climb, in which case keep doing it. But you could also see a situation where people, instead of actually doing this stuff, just live vicariously through their people they're following. Kind of like how, maybe the biggest problem with the whole self-improvement industry is that you have a lot of guys who end up just reading about self-improvement, but not actually doing it. I would say that, the first thing of advice to most younger guys is going to be to get off the internet completely. Forget about the following. Obviously it's not really possible to completely stop using it, although you should see if you can at least set aside a week to do a detox where you don't use it at all. But when you do use it, have very strict rules. You're only going to use it for email or something and nothing else. Or if you're going to research something, you'll write down exactly what it is you want to research. You will go to no sites except for Google and those sites. You won't scroll or watch anything like that. No no actual web surfing. I would say that it would be to get away from that kind of stuff. Although, yeah, it could help. But I think it's just more of the problem is more, just living online, or even a substantial portion of your life, any meaningful portion of your life online. And I say this as somebody whose entire life is online. That would be more the problem than the type of website you're looking at specifically. That's, to me, is a separate issue.
That you actually genuinely want to either be like or are interested in things that you...
I don't agree with trying to be like anybody. I don't think it's realistic. I think you can learn from people how they act, but you're not going to be like that person. I mean, they do things the way that works for them, and you're going to have to find ways to do things that work for you. I don't think it's ever healthy or realistic to want to be like somebody, except for maybe in a very certain very narrow behaviors or that you'd like to learn or something. That's about it. But don't try to be like somebody. It's like Marilyn Monroe said, wanting to be somebody else is a waste of the person you are. Well, easy for her to say, right, when she was already a Stacy, even though she never did much for me. But she does have a point, and even if she didn't have a point, you really don't have a choice. You're not going to successfully be somebody else. It's not going to happen. Instead, just, try to make it work for you the best you can. But you're going to have to do things your own way.
That you're interested in as a person, not people that are fake or photoshopped, that you have...
Well, okay, so not people like your brother?
Absolutely no ability to obtain. You should be following people that inspire you, not following half-naked Instagram models that give you the wrong idea of what you think you deserve from a woman and what you think a woman should be. Another small thing I want to touch on is
Well, I don't know much about Instagram. I really don't know what Instagram models look like and stuff. But like in terms of, and I don't like quote unquote porn per se. It's too explicit for me, too graphic for me. But what like the super I don't know what the like I don't know, like the women who are on pictures on the internet, whatever, like that kind of the reason that those pictures are so popular is because that is what women are supposed to look like, and the problem is that very few women do look like that, and for the same token, men are supposed to look like, even better than Henry Cavill, if you don't look that good, there's something wrong with you. It's just it's unfortunate, but that's all that there is. It's not like Henry Cavill has superhuman genes. It's just that the genes that affect his appearance aren't as damaged as our genes. He probably has as much genetic damage in his genome as we do, but the parts of his genome that are damaged don't affect appearance. And so it's it's, I guess, it's not, doesn't make you necessarily feel great about yourself, but it's a fact. So, I think, if it gets to a point where you can't even be attracted to a woman who's not like an 8, a 9, or a 10, then yeah, I agree that that's problematic if you're trying to get a relationship. But I really don't think that's the case for most guys. I really think that most guys, even guys who don't want relationships, I think most guys would still rather sleep with a real life 4 than jerk off to a online 10. So I just think she's wrong.
if none of this matters to you and you don't want to cut it out of your life, is OnlyFans. If you are paying for OnlyFans, you are outright pathetic. There is an entire flow of the content that you're looking for online for free, and you're paying for it. Go make a real connection with a woman.
Yeah, I never got that. I never got the OnlyFans thing. Because like you said, whatever is out there that you're paying for, you can get better than that for free. So what's with the what exactly is the point of OnlyFans? Like, I'm being serious. So if anybody's still watching and knows, answer in the comments. The only thing I could think of is that I don't know how these things work, but like, can you actually like exchange messages with them? In which case it might be like some kind of like girlfriend simulator thing. That's the only thing I can think of. Oh, well, actually, I guess that does kind of make sense. So, but if it's not that, I really don't know. And because my reaction is kind of the same as Kerrigan's.
Instead of sitting on your computer or your phone or your tablet and paying girls for what you want. It makes no sense. Obviously, women have a huge part to play in this as well. They're making revenue off of how pathetic you are, which is honestly sad, because you're giving them the ability to live a sustainable, wealthy life off of your sadness.
I've heard that most OnlyFans girls like make like nothing, and it's like a total grind, and it's really does not work out for most of them. So I don't know if that's true, that like you're giving them, like what you were saying, like a wealthy life. I don't know, but I'm not sure. That's true for like the few girls at the top, but I don't think it's true for most.
I'm just thinking that you should stop doing that and you should start making your life better for you. I know that this is a whole speech, but I know that this might seem like I'm reprimanding people, but I just want to say I don't think any of you are bad people. I think all of the people I'm talking to that have fallen into these traps are good people, and you just fell.
I don't know. I don't think your brother's a good person. I don't even know. I don't even know what a good person is anymore. So I don't know. I agree that, just, that I think if most people are okay, at least, they're at least, most people I think are at least decent. Like, maybe, yeah, sure, maybe they're not the most moral people in the world or the most selfless people in the world, but you don't know what they've been through, and deep down, I don't think they're so bad. For this goes for the overwhelming majority of people, but I don't know that they're like. I don't know if I would go so far as to describe them as particularly good people either. Like, the good is in the sense that the good outweighs the bad, sure. Good overall, I don't know. Again, it kind of depends on how you define it. But I don't think that they deserve, to be suffering like this. It's just like, we're all kind of hurting now. I mean, I guess, the kind of suffering that some guy who's paying for OnlyFans is, again, it not only is it nothing compared to like some kid in sub-Saharan Africa who's starving or has had his family murdered in some civil war, but it's not really too much compared to most people in history. So, it's like on one hand you feel sorry for their suffering, on the other hand it's not like, unfortunately, it's not even that bad. I feel like if you in the great scheme of things, but I think it's more of an issue of like, and I like kind of what I've got on DBDR in the past about like, you're not suffering because you're looking at porn or paying some OnlyFans girl. That's not causing your suffering. However, it may be making your suffering worse. Your suffering, your sadness, whatever you call it, worse. There's a really good chance it is. And you don't notice for the same reason a heroin addict doesn't notice. So it's just like, my brother once said that he gives money to homeless and he doesn't care if they spend it on drugs because it's like, well, their lives are so horrible that, then if they want to go spend it on drugs, then okay, good. It takes the pain away. And I was like, well, you can't say that necessarily because, their addiction could, I mean, yeah, I'm sure they'd be depressed even without their addiction, they would have never got into the first place, but their addiction could very well be making their suffering worse. And it's the same type of thing with this.
Into the modern world trap of society. And it's your job to motivate yourself to come out of that and come back into the...
You can't motivate yourself. It's the motivation's either there or it's not. It's unfortunate, but it's just reality.
Real world in real time. Casey can help you guys get out of this routine.
No, okay, we're done. No. I mean, you had me feeling like you were actually feeling some compassion for these guys, Kerrigan, and maybe you are, but you've just been deceived by your brother, and who probably himself believes it. So you can't even bash Casey that much. I know that New Poster is always on Casey. New Poster is the only guy who thinks even less of Casey than I do. And New Poster thinks he's a 100% grifter. And I don't think that's true. I think Casey really believes his bullshit. He just happens to also be a douche. It's like, but he'd be a douche even if he didn't believe the bullshit. It's just who he is. All right, that's all for now, and I'll see you guys in the next.